This video is going to be a look at one of the more commonly used formations that Todd Monken has deployed so far in 2023. The formation is called Pro Twins. You see it on your screen right now. It's a 2x2 formation. The twin side is two receivers to the bottom side. The pro side is the tight end and Z receiver to the top. We've got 460 plays in our database right now for the Ravens offense in 2023. 30 of them are out of Pro Twins. The run-pass breakdown is 16 runs, 13 pass, and 1 pass scramble. So by intention, in terms of play call, you're talking about almost 50-50, which I think is pretty cool. Now, there's 3 different iterations of the formation. There's A, B, and pistol. The one you're seeing right now is B, where the running back is opposite the tight end. They're on different sides from each other. A couple of things to mention before we get to the film. Todd Monken is utilizing this formation, Pro Twins, out of every personnel grouping. 12, 11, 20, 21, 22. Now, there are some tendencies within those, and I'm going to try to bring those to your attention. This is going to be part of just a look at one formation. This will not look at the entire offense. I like to break things down like this and show people formations so you have some awareness of them during games when the Ravens are lining up. If the broadcast angle gives you the ability to see the formation, you can perhaps, if you have no terminology background of your own or that you've been exposed to, perhaps you can have some awareness at this point in time. So again, a 50-50 run-pass formation, and Todd Monken's done a great job, if you ask me, of attacking outside to the perimeter with the pass and occasionally up the field towards the sidelines. Haven't seen as much attacking in the middle of the field, although I will show you one iteration of the patented Mark Andrews over route as we get going. All right, so first we'll do Pro Twins A, and a tight end is typically set to the boundary. You can see Andrews up to the boundary. What you've done generally is create a 3-on-3 in terms of the pass coverage with the running back, the tight end, and the Z receiver matched up against the corner, the boundary side safety, and the boundary side inside linebacker. Occasionally you get teams they'll chip or drop out with their boundary side D-end or outside linebacker. This case, you can very clearly see the 3-on-3 that's developing. You got a vertical by Flowers that's just carrying Julius Brent's man. It's kind of a busted version of cover 3. We talked about it after that week. 20-yard gain up the sideline to Andrews. The thing that I really like about what Monken does, and actually I like it and I both hate it as a former defensive coordinator, is like he's putting Andrews and the tight ends into the boundary intentionally to control the matchups. Control who is able to guard him, make you give away your coverage based upon the way you deploy your players defensively, basically where you line up. Another one, Pro Twins A, what I really like about the formation in terms of the horizontal spread is on blitz stuff that gives you a nice little spread to the field, and the nickel is displaced. You can see the nickel is blitzing here. This is a 2nd and 12 completion to Aguilar, big hit by Julius Brents. But Lamar has the ability to see this because things are so spread out. The nickel is widened up in a typical spread alignment. Lamar's able to get it out there quickly to Aguilar, which he's done a nice job of this year. The horizontal nature of this formation, that it's 2x2, I think plays into Lamar's hands right now and is one of the reasons why, A, he's able to get rid of the ball so quick. He's got clear lanes to see things. There's a horizontal spread in alignment. And then B, obviously, he knows the routes. And I don't think the Ravens are using so many plays that there's any level of confusion for Lamar or the receivers at all, even though you did have 2 instances pre-snap last week against the Lions where guys were struggling to line up, particularly Isaiah Likely. All right, motion to it is going to be smash fade up at the top side of the screen. But again, what do you notice? Now, the receiver's a little closer, Bateman. That's the pro side, A, with Dobbins there. And then the Twins is wider. So the alignment sometimes changes on the formations, depending on the play, depending on where the ball is on the hash or whatever. But generally, you're getting the tight end and Flowers to the boundary. At this point in the season, after week 1, I remember thinking, are we predictable? Meaning, are we putting Flowers to the read side all the time? Because generally, him and Andrews have been to the boundary. By the end of week 3, that fear was assuaged in my mind. I recognized that it was unpredictable in terms of where Zay Flowers was matching up in relation to the tight end, and it wasn't always to the read side. Although I do think that Rashad Bateman has been a backside guy often, a little bit too often for my money. All right, you got 12 personnel here. So again, you've got Pro Twins and this is B. The running back is opposite the tight end. So that is actually a tight end up there. Andrews is 12 personnel. Here's the tight end to the boundary. So Likely and Andrews have basically switched alignments here in terms of where Andrews was in the first play that I showed you against the Colts. And one of the things that that Monken does a lot of out of this formation is motion, what I call fast motion, and either give it to the guy in motion, give it to the running back, or as you see, keep and then throw the ball. This sets up perfectly for the play action to get these guys either moving horizontally with the motion or downhill with the give to the running back potentially, and then throw the patented over concept to Mark Andrews directly over top of them in front of the third level, but over top and in between the second level linebackers. Big catch by Andrews with contact. Lamar has done that hundreds of times in his career in terms of connect with Mark Andrews on this concept. You get the end zone angle of it. When you see this alignment and you see this motion during a game, got 2 points here. Number one, it's only going to be sweep if the motion is coming from the side opposite the running back, so they can get the running back out in front. And I'll show you one iteration of that, I think actually two, here in a little bit. That's point number one. Point number two, they're not going to run the fast sweep motion into the boundary. The ball is always going to be on the hash with the Z receiver, in this case Duve or perhaps Flowers, to the boundary, running that motion to the field where the running back is. Again, it sets up perfectly for Lamar to stick this throw in between here. Great timing, great execution against the Bengals. We know that we played a fantastic game offensively there. That's Pro Twins B out of 12 personnel. 20 personnel. How does he do it here? Well, you know that obviously Ricard serves as the tight end. This time the ball is on the hash, the right hash, and the tight end is to the field. So you have a little bit different alignment here because the tight end isn't to the boundary, but you can do the formation anywhere you want to. What's interesting to me is this is where we tend to run the zone read. We're arc releasing Ricard. Justice Hill is going downhill. I think Monken is doing this out of 20 personnel to get the nickel lined up on the field. So you can see Brian Branch is on the field. It's not the Lions' base defense. Additionally, the boundary side safety is dropped down, like I mentioned earlier, and we've talked about pretty much since training camp. That's what Monken wants to do, force the boundary side safety to get there. You've got a real nice look at a 4-4 look by the Lions, kind of like a stack 4-3 with a rolled up strong safety being Branch, but we know that he's the nickel. We've widened the nickel up. We've taken him out of the equation as far as the read, and we've isolated John Kaminsky. Because of the formation, we know what we're going to get, and I'll explain that to you here in a moment from the end zone angle. Because we're in 20 personnel, you know that you're going to get some type of over front to the tight end side, which is Ricard, because the nickel is here. He's not going to be into the boundary. Generally, the nickel's not going to be into boundary, number one. Number two, we're motioning across. So we're going to get some type of movement if the nickel was to the boundary in terms of a safety spinning back and someone spinning down to the field. Well, they don't need to spin to the field because the nickel is already there. So what does that do? It isolates Kaminsky, the D end, and allows Ricard to arc release to the inside linebacker. We have also got a nice advantage dealing with the strong safety into the boundary. Everything is really well coordinated here, if you ask me, creating good angles for our offensive line and creating matchups that we can win against particular players. By doing this out of 20 personnel, Monken is really, to me, being a pain in the butt for defensive coordinators because he's forcing you to line up a certain way. And then whatever manner you line up, he's able to have a play to counter off of that. Again, 20 personnel. Now the tight end is into the boundary, down to the bottom. It's Ricard with Duve, and the motion's going to come from the field. This is never going to be fast sweep. This is never going to be a give on this because the running back is on the wrong side. There'll be some spread coaches that tell you they do it. They probably do it 5 times a season. And it's a one-back power play, so it's a gap scheme this time. You're getting the pulling guard, going to kick out, I think, Zadarius Smith, and we're working up to the second level with everybody. Nice job blocking everybody up so far. Gus is able to get downhill for 6 or 7 yards. So the run game to the boundary, The zone read game generally out of a gun to the side of the tight end. You saw some pass concepts earlier. 20 personnel to me is where it's at. Now, when you go 22 personnel, which is what this one is, you're normally going to be talking about some type of sweep or attack to the field. The ball is in the middle of the field here, just so you know. Motion by Likely, it's not going to be a sweep to Isaiah Likely, clearly. This is the missed mesh handoff between Lamar and Justice Hill. But why is Todd Monken doing this, and what are we getting out of it in terms of the formation? Well, number one, we're getting their base defense on the field. Outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and then the other inside linebacker, Alex Anzalone, has widened up to the Twins because they don't have the nickel on the field. We've gone 22 personnel and controlled their reaction to it to run a specific play. I think it was Coach Sip Tatali mentioned on Twitter that if this ball is kept, we're out off to the races here to the edge. We've got good matchup, tight end on linebacker. Andrews going to seal off. We've got an unblocked safety. I think it's Kirby Joseph, but it's a well-coordinated play. Unfortunately, we can't get the mesh done correctly in Week 7. Otherwise, that could have been 35-0 or a big gain getting us on the way to our 5th touchdown. But you can see the way that it's set up, isolating, again, the defensive end, in this case Hutchinson, who's the guy who recovers the fumble. Andrews with a great angle to go get Barnes if we keep it. And unfortunately, we turn the ball over. That's 22 personnel pro Twins. Here's another iteration of it. This is 12 personnel. So I think you've got Kolar and Likely. And you got the fast motion by Flowers. Where's the back? The back is to the B side. He's away from the tight end, the inline tight end. Look at what the back is doing. As soon as the ball snapped, he's leading. It's JK. It's fast sweep. It's not a huge game. We're only getting 6 yards. OBJ's trying to do a nice job out there blocking, if you ask me. When you see these formations, and this is one of the unfortunate things about the broadcast not giving you the personnel groupings pre-snap. If you knew the personnel grouping, 12 personnel or 22 personnel, and we go pro Twins, it's probably fast sweep. And if it ain't fast sweep, then it's probably some type of attack to the side of the motion, meaning off screen to our right is generally going to be where the attack side is. Think of the fumble that I just showed you on the exchange between Lamar and Justice Hill. That fumble occurred with the side of the motion. The motion was going left to right. Justice Hill was on the right. Generally, out of 12 personnel, 22 personnel, you're talking about we're going to attack to the motion or to the motion side. You got 22 personnel again, and what Monken has done is get his 2 tight ends out to the edge, sweep Duve, and we've got a tight end, and then Gus Edwards leading out here. We got big boys on the field to block for Duve. It only ends up being a 5 or 6 yard gain. I think it should have been more. I think it potentially could have been more, but we used that call twice on that last drive against Cincinnati to really exploit the defense. And again, what are we doing out of 22 personnel? We're controlling who the defense will have on the field. They only have 4 defensive backs on the field. If you had your nickel on the field, your nickel would be about right there, and you'd have 1 less interior lineman. But if you matched 22 personnel defensively with your nickel, then Todd Monken's probably going to run some kind of gap scheme downhill run to come at you. The Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals in the last 2 years are 2 of the teams, if you ask me, that have done the best job of stopping or slowing down the run using their nickel alignment as their base. I think that might be an option for some of these teams when they're defending Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in 2023. One more iteration of it. This is 22 personnel again, same drive, same exact alignment. The Ravens have once again got the base 3-4 from the Bengals, 4 defensive backs, controlling who's on the field, controlling the blocking matchups, Likely on the inside backer, Andrews on the backside guy. Gus is leading out to the corner. It's a perfect example, if you ask me, of manipulating the defense using your personnel grouping, and second, your formation, because you know what the defense is, how the defense is going to be forced to line up. And that's the entire reason why I show you guys formations on a weekly basis or semi-weekly basis, I guess I should say, is to illustrate to you that our offensive staff is in a lot of ways doing a fantastic job of manipulating defenses, limiting their reactions to only bad choices, and then finding the play concepts, whether it's the pass plays I showed you in the beginning, the run concepts, the read option, the counter option, or in this case, the fast sweep, to exploit it in some of these really high leverage situations. You guys let me know if you appreciate the formation breakdowns. I'd like to perhaps do one more on Saturday morning as a part of my Ravens-Cardinals preview. I'm still working through the Cardinals film and hopefully be able to finish that up Friday night. Appreciate you guys' time.